From Mordor to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this Thursday here for some racing as we are in the playoff championship. We've got 8 racers right now that are in the round of 8. We get to the championship of 4, and then we get to our champion. But first, we've got to go to Old Atlanta. It's not the new one. Very interesting track, as you will have a lot of throttle control and got to be very consistent here today. I've got myself Jacob Emery, and alongside with me is Brandon Bowie. Brandon, how are you feeling today, man? Are you there?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I'm pretty good. Just got out of the car, kind of testing it, kind of seeing what track temp and what to kind of expect for the race tonight. And man, I think we're gonna have a pretty wild one tonight for sure.
Yeah, got a good time up there as I'm looking at your time, 31.26. Man, I know you want to be in that car racing, I bet you, but you're in the booth with me and old AJ. AJ's behind the scene doing all the camera work, and Steve Tucker is also going to be a part of this. He is going to be your race control inside the race. So right now, this is going to be the Flemdogs 200. We've got stages, 3 of them. Stage 1's going to end at 30 laps. Stage 2 at 70. We're going to finish at 125. Brandon, what are your thoughts on the track? Is the temperature hot right now? I haven't taken a look. Is it slick? Is it tight? Is the car loose? How's it feeling?
Yeah, it's a little steamy out there. Track temp is about 134 degrees right now. Air temp is even high as well at 91. Winds, it's really nothing really at 2 miles an hour going towards the north. So, I mean, you don't really feel that. But you're going to really feel just the track temp in general, and that slipping and sliding and just trying to get up to the speed is a challenge as well. So, it's a challenge, right now, just trying to put down a solid lap and trying not to spin. I mean, the good thing is the track is wide enough. You got plenty of space to kind of, if you do get loose, you have plenty of time or space to save it from, self-spinning or getting tagged or whatever. But, man, I think the start of the races are going to be really interesting. Cold tires, tire pressure's got to come up. The driver's got to let the tire pressures come up as well. It's really, really easy to buzz the tires, and next thing you know, you're sliding off the corner. So, that's definitely something for us to look out for. But as the run goes on, it also gets loose. So the best of the best is probably gonna be out front. And I mean, we got some of the best guys in here with Lights, Whitley, Six, Jua, and our winner Frankie from last week, just to name a couple guys. So, yeah, this is going to be definitely a challenge even for those guys, but it should be fun to watch.
Absolutely. The times are pretty close here in practice, and the round of 8 is close as well, as we're looking at 6. Barroso, Lights, and Whitley, they are above the cutoff line, and below that's going to be Jua, Wright, Fleming, and Larson. Only 4 advance, so those guys are going to be battling out to get to the championship of 4, and after that, we will crown the champion. As you're looking right there, you can see the round of 8. Very tight so far, and Frankie, man, haven't talked a whole lot about him. In fact, I take that back. We've talked a whole lot about him in the last 3 to 4 races, as he's really put the move on. One of the drivers out here, he's the one to beat. I'm really excited to watch him do his thing in that 23. But Brandon Sticks is up front there, been strong all season. Nick Lights looks super comfortable in the car at Old Atlanta. He's running a 31.262, sitting second, right underneath you, Brandon, for the fastest practice time. We'll see how the qualifying goes, but man, Lights very strong. Whitley, Jewel Wright, and Fleming Larson, can't count them out, as we're going to have some great racing here at Atlanta. Now, Brandon, real quick, this is the old Atlanta. This is not the new one. So I talked about it early. Throttle control is going to be key. Tire saving here. Also, it's not the new school stuff. We are on the old Atlanta. Talk about that a little bit, Brandon.
Yeah, the new Atlanta, of course, is repaved, and it's a super speedway package. Full throttle the whole time for the most part. And you're looking for your guys and other drivers to kind of push you along to keep you up front and to get to the front, right? But the old Atlanta is nothing like that. You don't want anybody pushing you at all. Maybe a little bit on the straightaway and the backstretch, but for the most part, you don't want anybody touching you. It's so easy to get pushed into the corner and get loose. As we're riding with Brandon Six here, I talked to him as well. He's actually fighting a little bit of tightness compared to some of the other guys who are fighting looseness. So it's going to be interesting again to see, how he ends up. I know he didn't have the best of race last week. Getting to I believe he wrecked himself. I think coming out of 1, and just like he just about did there as well. But yeah, so he was struggling as well, and he's struggling here as well, and as many wins as he's had, it's a little bit surprising. So, but hey, I mean, that kind of gives some of the other guys that was like, oh, he's our biggest challenge. But I mean, if he's not the biggest challenge anymore, you kind of open up the door for some of these other guys to kind of take advantage. And I think that one person that has definitely taken advantage is definitely Frankie Barroso.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we're looking at Nick Lights that's Whitley, take a quick spin, saves it. Little loose in the wall. It is practice, so it doesn't count right now. As I was watching these drivers in practice, there's a couple different lines. You can run that high line. You can run the lower line. It seems like that's going to be key for guys trying to save tires and just get the groove and the feel for this car. Practice is coming to an end, so we will jump right into qualifying. I just want to thank everybody at home watching Wheels America Racing Network, and want to say thank you to all our sponsors: Units Moving Portable Storage, Wheels America, Admin Box, Flemdogs, the Nerds Doing Nerd Things podcast, and Harpoon Designs. We've got some action-packed coming up at Old Atlanta, as our first driver is going to get on the track and do a qualifying time. Brandon, I am super excited to see these drivers do their thing, and I've been talking about them a lot. And Frankie, that guy right there, I am curious to see how he runs this race. He's been very strong. He's kind of been sitting back, having a lot of patience. Is he going to come out of the gates and go strong here in this first stage?
Well, that's actually another driver I talked to earlier, and he wasn't feeling too confident as well. I think a lot of it just has to do with, this track is such abrasive on the tires. It's really, really easy to burn up the tires, and once you burn up the tires, it's not coming back. You're going to either be really, really tight or really, really loose. So as we're riding with the 50, or was riding with the 54, there going into the corner. Now we're riding with the 32. So, man, I mean, it's gonna be important, like I said, to put down a solid lap. As we're gonna ride along with Whitley here and see what he can do. But if he can put down a solid lap, then I think and start close to the front, I think you're okay. But looking at Whitley going into turn one, it looked like he completely missed turn one and did not make the corner. But he could also be trying to run the high line, which is a possibility as well. But it's pretty unique. Looks like he is so far P1 at a 31.6.
Yeah,
That's a
Whitley.
pretty solid lap.
Yeah, Whitley coming out of the gates with a 31.65. Smith right there in that 54, 31.67. So these times are starting to roll in. As you can see, the drivers with the green highlighted name, those are the ones in the championship playoffs, still alive. But some of these other drivers like Smith, Biddy, Fetter Place, they are here. They're going to give it all as they can to try to get a win out here. There's no giving up or taking anything back. You know those guys want to come out here, put on a show, and get that win. Number 48, he is now on the pole. Jumped right ahead of Mark Whitley in that number 7. So these times in qualifying are definitely not what we've seen in practice, but I believe the track temperature may be changing as we're looking at 66 of Brandon, as he's going to put in his first lap. Actually, this is going to be his second. Got a 31.72. See if he can get any better than that. Try to jump ahead of that 48. Brandon, you were talking about, doesn't feel too comfortable with the heat, the tires. It feels a little loose, feels tight. It will be fun to watch these guys navigate and try to figure this car out. As we've seen in the past races, guys have felt like they haven't been comfortable, but have turned around and put on quite a show. I think it's going to happen here at Atlanta.
Yeah, I think that the two biggest parts of the track we're going to really have to focus on is really the exit of 2 and the exit of 4. Just in my limited amount of practices I did, I mean, you're basically power sliding coming off of the corner. And that's fine, for a Q lap. You're just trying to put down the fastest lap possible. You don't really care about the tires, but when you're in race trim, you can't really allow your car to do that. You're going to have to really have it set up to point and shoot. As we're riding along with the 4 of Nick Lights right here, you're going to see what he can put down. His first lap with a 31.6, and this lap will be a 31.3. Yeah, good lap. Looks like along with Jewel. I mean, the top 3 is all in the 3s, so that's pretty good to see. Definitely should be interesting on the short run, and then depending on how everybody's car is, we'll find out who has the better car in the long run for sure. But
Yes.
yep. Go ahead.
Yeah, strategy is going to come into play here. It always does, especially in that stage 2. These guys have 4 sets of tires, so you have to really play some strategy here at Atlanta. It will matter when coming to the end of this race. If you're running out of tires, you may be out of luck and out of contention for the championship. You were talking about these times, 31.3 for Jua and Lights with also a 31.3. Man, that's some of the fastest times we've seen so far. They're figuring it out here at Atlanta, as maybe the track temperature may be coming down just a tad bit. But as you can see, those guys with the highlighted green are all up top, the top 6, running fantastic times. Smith, David, Meeks, Biddy, Corriveau, and Fetter Place there, they're running around a 31.8 up to a 31.6. Still got quite a few guys that need to put some times in, so they may change as, man, qualifying's going to be wrapping up here shortly. Brandon, he almost lost it there, but saved it. That's the 88 of Fleming.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that lap I don't know if it depends on how much in the grass he got, whether that lap will count or not, but I believe it will, because I think he actually picked up and now he's P5. So it's also interesting that the top 6 right now, all in the playoffs. So that shows you, the cream ride to the top.
Absolutely. And one driver we talked about last week seemed like he had to come out and get a win to advance, and that's the number 4 of Nick Lights. We were talking about it early in the race that he had no question that he needed to come out here and get that win to advance. But the way everything played out, and some of the top drivers didn't finish, they got some early trouble. allowed Lights to advance and just snuck right in, and now he's fighting for that championship of 4. So I know he's going to be out here driving that car as fast, as hard as he can to advance to try to get that championship. But, man, Larson, Fleming, Six, Lights, Jua, Whitley, Frankie, all drivers that are going to be out here just doing what they can. And it's going to be really competitive. Brandon, do you think the strategy here is to stay back, save those tires, maybe stage 1, and make a move late?
I mean, yeah, that is an option. I mean, there's always an option, right? The question is going to be whether it's the right option.
Right.
Like I said, with the how fast these tires are going to be burnt up mainly. It just depends on how hard a driver is on the track as well. We have some drivers that are just known to be aggressive on their tires. Nick Lights is one of them. Mark Whitley is about the same as far as aggressiveness on their tires. So it's gonna be interesting, on what they do, and I'll definitely be watching them closely to kind of see how they kind of shake out compared to maybe some of the other guys that maybe took care of their tires a little bit better. So I really don't know what the strategy is right now. I think right now we'll just have to wait and see what happens. I know for a fact that if you're gonna push it 110% off the brake off the start of the race, you're not gonna have to tire. You're not gonna have any tires by the end of that stage. So it'll be interesting. So we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, and I believe that is going to wrap up qualifying. As you're looking at it now, the number 48 of Drew Druid did get the pole. He ran a 31.36. Nick Lights there in the number 4. He is in second. 6, Whitley and Mealy. That's your top 5. Right? Yeah, Wright just put in a time, actually. He's lower in the 15 with a 31.86. Just popped up. But I believe we're going to bring in a driver real quick. I believe it's going to be of the 48, Drew, as he is sitting right now on the pole, and I believe it's going to stay. Drew, you got a copy? As we try to work with him and get him here in the booth. I believe we're just waiting. Well, as we're trying to figure out him and get him and have a word with him, we are looking at it. Old Atlanta right now. This is not the new Atlanta. It's going to change up some things for some of these drivers. We did a vote. Some guys were happy about it being at the old. Some guys wanted the new. But here we are now. This is late in the season. I believe we have 3 races left after this. And I've had so much fun watching these guys battle in the playoffs, as some guys have had some early issues and were not able to continue because they got into some early trouble. And we've had other drivers succeed and doing some of the best driving they've done so far all year. Brandon, what do you think? Do you think Frankie still has it in him to come out here and maybe get a win? I mean, the last 3 races, you can't count them out.
Yeah, I mean, and I can say that for more than just Frankie. I mean, I can say that for Jua, Light, Six, Whitley, Millie. I can say that for the whole field. The whole field has really just kind of stepped it up once they hit the playoffs. And I understand, everybody's not in the playoffs currently or technically at this time, but those guys still want to go out there and win. They still want to go out there and prove that they probably should be in the playoffs if things went their way. So I think that with the way how the thought process probably from some of these guys, you're gonna probably see some crazy shakeups in strategy possibly, and you might see some guys even stay out on old tires, which I wouldn't suggest you do. But if there is a tire shortage, which it could possibly be, which I believe you only get, I believe it's
4 sets.
4 sets.
Yep.
So yeah, so it's man, it's if you get a lot of cautions, then it's gonna be all about strategy. If it stays green, then I think that it could possibly they might be okay.
Yeah, as you're seeing them get on the grid now, we are here at the Flemdogs 200. Stage 1 ends at 30 laps. Stage 2 is going to be at 70. We want to thank everyone at home watching Wheels America Racing Network for tuning in every week. Been a good season, and it's coming to an end as here at Old Atlanta. We are going to go through the grid now as the number 48. He got the pole. Drew Drua, looking on board him. And the number 4 of Nick Lights, the number 2 car. We got 66, so Brandon 6. He's sitting 3rd. Mark Whitley in the 7. He is looking at 4th position. Frankie in a little bit farther back. He's sitting 5th in the number 12 car. And Joseph Mealy, 39. He's sitting 6th. Song in the 8. He's looking at 7th position. Right next to 88 Fleming. He's in the 8th spot. Larson of the 51. He's in 9th. We got Lamphere, 13th. He is 10th. Number 54 Smith he's 11th. Number 6 David. He's in 12th. He's in the 55, 13th. 32 Biddy. 77 Corriveau, 15th. Fetter Place at number 34, 16th. And Reel's out here. He's in the 11th. And 04 of Wright in the 18th. Well, that's the grid, Brandon. We're taking off, and we're going to go racing here at Atlanta here shortly.
Yeah, like I said, I'm really, really interested to really see what these guys can do and how they're going to kind of shake out on the start. Again, it's going to be super, super important to make sure that these guys don't, spin the tires on the restart. I've done it years ago, but still, it's pretty embarrassing to do it, especially when you, I think I was maybe 3 laps away from winning the race, and I spun the tires on the restart and took out the field, and it's probably one of the biggest mistakes I've ever done. So these guys gotta understand that this track is almost like Darlington. There's no stripe. It's gonna take your whole car if you wreck. So as long as they mind the P's and Q's, they should be good to go.
Yeah, you don't want to spin out in front of the field. That's one thing. Also, you don't want to start out in the wrong gear. I've done that a time or two. You just kind of space it, and as you see the pace car come off of Atlanta here shortly, I have done it as not just paying attention, and I go and I got no power, and I look down, I'm in 3rd, I'm in 4th, and it's no fun.
Yeah, it's as look like we're getting an additional lap. Interesting,
I thought we were gonna go green. I thought I was seeing something wrong, but yeah, we are going one more caution lap, and then we will go green.
Yeah, it could have been just a mix-up or something that needed to be fixed before, but yeah, in the 70s. It looked like maybe there was an incident. To see if we can find that out.
Sure, let's take a look here.
Okay, we're riding with the 70. Oh, wow.
And that kind of looks like he may had a disconnection of his wheel. Unless he was trying to warm the tires up and got loose before restart. Man. Well, Brandon, a little interesting early on in this race, as we are already seeing some crazy stuff. But
yeah, I mean, I literally said that was probably one of the biggest mistakes in my racing career. I think what we just saw there might have been the biggest mistake in the 77's racing career, because that was
yeah. Well,
green is coming out.
The pace car is off, and we are green in Atlanta. Drew in that 48 is going to take us into turn 1. 6 Lights, Moroso, Whitley right behind, trying to track him down.
And so far, so good. Looks like I didn't see anybody really spinning the tires on the restart. So should be good to go. These guys have just got to be mindful of how hard they're pushing the tires again. These tires will be gone in 10 laps if these guys race too aggressively. But if they just mind the P's and Q's, then the tires will continue to stay happy.
Yeah, we've seen good racing last 3 races. Not too many cautions. Everyone being really patient in stage 1. And then stage 2 is really where all the action unfolds. But right now, nothing's changed up front. Number 48 out front still. 66 on the inside, trying to make a push. But Lights on that 4 car. Maybe he's got the line on the outside. 1, 2, and 3 coming back to the finish line. Mark Whitley, Broso, Mealy and Fleming has song Larson Smith in that top 10 after 3 laps in Atlanta.
And unfortunately, I can't tell how hard these guys up front are really pushing, but it looks like the rest of the field is pretty close. So I would say that they're not racing at 110%, which I don't know. Nick Lights might be racing a little bit harder as he's gonna have to take the long way around as he's going to the high side. And unfortunately, that's gonna heat up the tires even more. So, and Mark Whitley is on his trail as well, gonna follow suit, gonna do the same thing.
Yeah, like we were talking about it, you want to run maybe the inside lane or outside. It's all about preference here. If you want to save some tires, you want to push it a little bit harder, or whatever you feel comfortable with. As we're seeing early on, some taking the low, some taking high, and trying to make that pass. It looks like that number 7 on the outside is going to get a pass here. That may be the way around this track at Atlanta. But as time goes on, as those tires wear, those grooves will change, and drivers will make the adjustments. We're looking at Nick Lights in front. Now Mark Whitley and Drew a battle behind him as they are side by side in single file behind them. Good racing so far, Brandon, with 5 laps down, about to be 6.
Yeah, I'm very, very surprised how hard Mark Whitley, Jesus, that was pretty close, but how hard Mark Whitley is pushing it up there, or was, I should say, to try and make the pass. Again, in my opinion, I don't think, you should be pushing it that hard. And that goes for Mark, and that goes for Lights. I just don't think that's the right way to kind of go about it right now. But, I mean, obviously these guys in the car right now, they got a feel for it, and they feel that, what they're doing is the right thing. So we'll have to give it a couple more laps and see. But it doesn't look like Drew or Sixth or Barroso, who is sitting in P5 right now, are really pushing it. Looks like they're going to kind of follow suit and maybe do the same strategy that Barroso did last week, how he got his win, and just ride it out for a little while.
Yeah, well, one driver up front, too, that can really drive the tires and drive the car hard and still save the tires, and that's 66. He tends to always be running fast times and fast laps during the race and somehow be able to save tires, and that is key, and that is a goal to being a driver that's up front in the top 5 consistently. He has put himself in position to be a contender to win it all. But Nick Lights, Whitley, Drew, Brandon 6, Frankie in that 12, Matt Fleming in 88. That's your top 6 drivers. Mealy, Larson, Smith, and a song at 8, 9, and 10th position. Right in that 04, he's in 15th. Sitting a little bit farther back. He's 5 seconds, almost 6 seconds now behind the leader. But you're right. Maybe guys are kind of just holding back in stage 1, saving everything, and getting a feel for the car before they enter to stage 2. This first stage ends at 30, and then the second will end at 7. So a lot of strategy in play already. 9 laps down, no cautions. Everyone's racing very consistently. That top 10 drivers are all right there within 3 seconds.
Yeah, and just and I want to do kind of a quick check on the 77. Look like the 77 or Corvo is 1 lap down from that damage under caution. So he's gonna have a unfortunately right now, if nobody else goes a lap down, he should be able to get that lap back pretty easily. But man, if he's not up to speed, unfortunately, I can't see where he is on the track right now to see if we can take a look, see where he is compared to the leader. But yeah, he's not very far in front of Nick Lights. He's on the back stretches right now, and Nick Lights is about to hit the back stretch right now. So if anything, he either has to hope for a caution, or he has to hope that they don't catch him before. As you see him get a little loose coming out of 4. He got to hope that they don't catch him. If they do, he's gonna go down 2 laps, and it's just an uphill battle from there.
Yeah, it's too bad to start back lap down, but man, he's got time early on. You want if you're going to make a mistake like that, you want to do it early on because you have so much time left to try to get that lap back and compete and get up to that top 10, top 5, whatever it may be. But man, it's tough. It kind of plays games with you when you're out there with 12 laps down and already 1 lap down. It's not fun. You feel like you're on an island and you're stuck and you're trying to do everything you can to get that lead lap back. What we've seen, and the trend has been going, stage 1, no cautions. Last 3 to 4 races, we haven't seen any cautions in that stage 1. Stage 2 is really where that mix-up starts to begin. They start to strategize. They either get some fuel, get some tires, and then you start seeing some changing, and may see a caution. But man, he's got a lot of work cut out for him in this race early on. Lights Whitley Drew in that 6. Frankie now, he's sitting 5th, number 12. It's looking like he's going to try to push it a little bit early in this stage 1.
Yeah, and one thing that was kind of just brought up to our attention as well was fuel. These guys are might be really close on fuel. Could also explain, as we're watching the 54 rim ride the wall, maybe he's been watching some Larson tapes. But these guys, with the Mark Whitley, it looks like he's kind of fallen off just a little bit. Looks like Drew is kind of caught him along with the 66 as well. So it's a possibility that, hey, if they are that close on fuel, Drew and Brandon Six know what they got to do, which is you need to save just a little bit of fuel, also save me just a little bit of tires, and we might be able to actually win this stage. So it's again, strategies, and that's what makes this league is great. The stages, the different strategies you got going on. Man, I mean, it's just so much, especially for the the front. What 7 right now are basically in a Congo line. So they look like they all got the same idea.
Yeah, you're right, and it almost looks like the 3. As we get loose. Mark Whitley's trying to save it. Does on the outside. Great save. That's going to cost him a few spots. At 6, Drew. Frankie now going to catch him on the inside. What I was going to say, though, is it looks like a lot of single file besides the number 7. He wants to run that outside lane. He's been doing it early on in this race. So fun to watch him to try to figure out if he wants. Now, as we look as I say that, in the back there, now another guy jumps out, wants to run that top line. He's making a big run, number 39.
Oh, it's in the wall, too.
Hits the wall. Mealy says, I'm pushing it on this corner. Does. Hits the wall, saves it. He's still sitting there safe.
Well, and just to kind of bring up a little quote, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he also was the one who, in the YouTube chat, also said, I'm here for blood and blood only. So, I think there's a little challenge going on for him to go out there and possibly get it done and get the win, but he's definitely putting it all out on the line right now for sure.
Yeah, I'd love to see that early on in stage 1. They're battling. They are battling here to try to get some points early on. 30 laps is all we got to go. 18 down, about to be 19. Good racing. Competitiveness. Nobody's pushing the limits too hard and giving each other room. There's 88 on the outside of Frankie in that 12. Gonna get a pass there. Not quite. Ricky gains him on the inside, but there goes the 88 in that Flemdogs car. Both of those really good paint jobs. Frankie and that Harpoon Designs. Love to see that one.
Yeah, and it's, again, I kind of called it, right? At the beginning, I said, don't push the car too hard early. Your tires will be mad at you. And I think we're kind of seeing that right now with lights starting to fall back. Whitley is fell back a couple spots as well. While the guys who kind of saved the tires and kind of didn't push it 100%. If you see Mark Whitley get really loose again coming out of 2, they're starting to be able to kind of push forward. So we'll have to see if this changes again in 10 laps. It'll be interesting to see how the stage ends.
Yeah, the field hasn't fell apart too bad. The top 10, they're about 3 to 4 seconds off. You got David back there in 17th. He's 8 seconds. Real 7. Lamphere 7. Man, early on, it looks like it's pretty tight, especially in that top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spot. Number 7, Mark Whitley, he drops back down. He's 1.32 seconds behind the leader of the 48.
Close between the 9 and the 66. Or, I'm sorry, the 4 and the 66. But the 39 is, hey, like I said, he's here for blood. So he is rim riding that high line as well, trying to pick up as much momentum and as much speed as he can. It'll be interesting to see if we can get there. He's running. Yeah, but he had to start hitting the wall. But
that line could be fast, Brandon. It's just a matter of, you don't want to touch that wall too many times, because it only takes a couple before you have some issues. But that top line, it's close. But if you can do it right, it looks like it's working out for him, as he's getting a lot of momentum out of these corners, almost looking like he's going to pass right at the end. Kind of fades off, but great driving for that gentleman in the melee, number 39. As we're on board, we're going to take a look at this. He's riding the high line there, real close. A lot like Darlington, is it not?
Yeah, and I said that earlier. It is similar to Darlington, the way how people are racing. But the problem is, you don't just get the Darlington stripe. Usually, if Atlanta takes you, it takes your whole car. It's not just gonna leave you with a stripe. So that's the only kind of the downfall with how Atlanta is. I mean, usually if you wreck big. So if you keep it off the wall, you got a good chance.
I was at Darlington this week for League on Wednesday, and that is a tough track. You have guys that really figure it out early, and they're very consistent, and that's what you have to be at that track. You have to be so consistent to be able to be good. As we're looking at the 39, I think that's going to be the line that he's going to be driving the rest of the way here in stage 1. There's the number 4 of Lights. Getting loose. Frankie just gets by him. And, man, Lights was running some good qualifying times, some good practice times, but right now, maybe struggling. He's falling back and just kind of being patient.
Yeah, I think he just burnt up his tires. I think, and there's nothing really wrong with that strategy, right? You go out there, you lead a whole bunch of laps, and you kind of just see how things go. The thing is, you got to do is you got to learn from that, and if you can take that information that you learn, okay, I pushed it too hard. Maybe if I stay for a couple laps and then go, maybe I can. Oh, somebody's really loose in the back. I think that was the 54 Matt Smith, but I couldn't catch who that was. Yeah, looks like he did a heck of a save. Didn't hit anything, and it's still
looking at a replay here.
Yeah.
Got loose.
Yeah.
The inside saves it back on the track. Doesn't doesn't lose a whole lot of bunch of ground, but man, good save by him. 54.
If it's gonna, so far, that's gonna be the save of the night right there, because that could have. I've seen some hellacious wrecks. So that good job to him for saving that.
We just had another driver loose on the backstretch, it looked like. Oh, got some contact.
Hold on to it.
Song and Biddy with some contact early in stage 1. Man, they make it look pretty easy on those saves. That's harder than you think. If we get a shot on board, kind of give you an idea of how much steering wheel movement there is when you're trying to make those saves. But real close now to the end of stage 1. We've got a couple laps left. Number 48, Drew, is still in the lead, and now 6 in second here, and takes a good look. Biddy got some contact, not too much movement, but here is Hassan holding on for his life. And
Larson, the 51, barely squeezed in. That could have been really bad.
Man.
But you want to know what? Matt Smith has walked away from the field. He has a 2.2 second lead over Mr. Brandon Sticks at the 66. I'm sorry, Trua. Name's wrong. And looks like Mike Corvo is not going to go an extra lap down. So he should get his lap back. Be back on the lap.
Just like that. He's back in the game, 30 laps down, and that's our first stage, as Drew in that 48 is going to get the stage 1 win. Congratulations to him. 6 in the 66. He got all the way up to second now. Mark Whitley in the 7th, third. Mealy, Frankie in that 12. That's your top 5 at the end of stage 1. They will get in the pits, get some tires, get some fuel, and we will get back here shortly to stage 2. That stage ends at 70 laps, but while we wait, we want to quickly go to a commercial break, and we will be back here shortly.
From Mordor to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.
All right, folks, welcome back. We are back again at the old Atlanta Flemdogs 200. And we're going to see if we can bring our stage 1 winner, Drew Jua, in. You got a copy, Drew?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, congratulations on your stage 1 win. You had a 2.2 second lead over your teammate, Brandon Six. Obviously, you were saving tires a little bit better than he was.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know how exactly iRacing works with their tires, but comparing to them, I honestly had the worst tires, so my guess is maybe the temperature I saved a little bit better, but either way, I kind of pulled away and was super comfortable. He was pretty tight, and I kind of saved my tires a little bit earlier, and I know he had to fight past Nick Lights, so we'll see if we can go back to back. I know it's going to be pretty close on fuel this stage, so it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, speaking of fuel, how close were you guys for that stage 1 run? Or how close were you?
I was about 3 to 4 laps to the good. I'm not sure what my plan is here. It's about 36, 35-ish. I don't know if I know Frankie might save it, which is a little bit worrying. So I don't know what my strategy is here.
Yeah, I think we've kind of all known his strategy now of saving fuel and saving tires. But hey, we're about to take the 1 to go, so I'll let you go, man. Good luck the rest of the way, and we'll see if we see you again.
Thank you.
All right, Brandon, I am back. I had some issues going on my end, but they are fixed, and I am back here live with the broadcast and everybody at home. So sorry about that. I apologize. As I guess got a word with the number 48. Feels confident out there.
Yeah, I think a lot of these guys have got some confidence right now. I mean, these guys are being aggressive right now, and you see some guys right now, Larson in the 51 and Matt Fleming in the 88 coming down and getting just a little bit more fuel. As Drew has said, they are going to be they're not sure if they can make it on fuel. So some of these guys, I mean, if we saw them kind of riding for probably about maybe 10 laps or so, might be riding even longer than that just to try and make sure you can get to the end and not pit, if it's even possible. But I tell you what, Mr. Mealy is up to P4 right now, starting on the bottom behind stage 1 winner Drew, and it's a possibility that he might be going for that P1 position. So I think we might have a wild restart here. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Pace car lights are off. It's about to come off the track, and we will go back racing here at Atlanta. Drew in that 48, he is right on the cutoff, so he needs these points. He's got to get a few more points this race to advance. But before we do, we are going to go back green at Atlanta as he takes us into turn 1. Mark Whitley, Neely right there too. He's in second. Brandon 6 lights, and a number 32 of Biddy. One of our bigger movers. Nick Biddy started 14th and now sitting 6th.
Yeah, and it's important to note that high line, Mark Whitley started P2 and spun the tires. Going into turn 1, he fell all the way back to about 4th or 5th. And coming out of 4, now he's the leader. So that tells you, and from what I can see, he's pushing it pretty hard. Drew is going to, looks like, possibly go back to that little bit of fuel saving, tire saving is what he did on the first stage. Now, that's good, that he's doing that. But if a caution comes out, then all those spots that you kind of gave up, it's going to be hard to get back. So, that there's pros and cons to everybody's plan, everybody's situation. So, but hey, look, I called it. Millie to the lead.
Mealy is out with revenge. He is out with some passion here. Man, he talked in the chat. He is doing everything that he can to be up front. He's doing a great job. Number 39, Joseph Mealy, out here competing, telling Mark Whitley, telling Lights, telling Drew Drua, hey, look at me out front. I can run with you guys. Come catch me, as it's fun to watch. Mark Whitley in that 7, he might have learned a thing or two in that stage 1 too, watching Drua pulled away so far. He was almost 3 seconds before that stage ended. Maybe he's saying, hey, I looked at my tire, I saw the wear, come out here, I'm going to run the car a little bit harder in stage 2 to try to get some points and get that win, like you were saying, Brandon.
Yeah, and these guys right now are kind of pushing it a lot harder than I thought they would be pushing it. The only person I'm still seeing this kind of riding is Drew. I mean, he started from P1 and has fallen all the way back to 7th. So obviously he's on the strategy and he's going to stick with the rest of these guys. I'm kind of, it's like, I don't care. I want to get to the front. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, everybody has a different strategy, but I just don't know how that's going to work. If you plan on staying out, that's not the way to do it. But, if you're going to push it and then maybe split the stage in half, then that's a good plan as well, to possibly go ahead and maybe steal some stage points by doing that. But, man, we have to wait and see. Got to go all the way to lap 70.
Lap 70 indeed. That's the end of stage 2, and these drivers only have 4 sets of tires. You burned one of them so far, and also not only tires but fuel. Can they make it all the way through? That is going to come into play late in this race as they try to strategize to get up front. Lights in that 4 has figured it out. He is in the lead. Number 39, Mealy, 6 in Biddy. That 4 spot. 40 laps down, stage 2. We have had a great race so far. Everyone's given each other a lot of room. Very consistent from what we've seen in these playoff runs, these playoff races. The guys on the mix here is Drew Drua, Wright, Fleming, and Larson. They are on the cutoff. You've got Brandon 6, Barroso, Lights, and Whitley. They are ahead of the cutoff, but they still got to come out and compete, get some points to advance. We've only got a couple races left, Brandon. This season is coming to an end fast. I kind of don't want it to end. These playoffs, this championship, man, has been so exciting for not only me, but everyone at home watching live on YouTube, Wheels America Racing Network. We appreciate you being here. We've got a lot of chatters talking it up, and I love to see that. Keep it up. We do read those. We are seeing it, and I love to see everyone cheering on their drivers as, man, Atlanta is providing early on as they're single file now, leaving turn 4.
And these guys are, like I said, on a whole nother level of aggressive. I don't know if they got word it's supposed to be raining or something, but these guys have definitely picked up the pace.
Now let's go on board with me. So we're getting some word that there might be already some strategy going on, and that's saving fuel.
Oh yeah.
So he
Look at that.
is backing off already. 40 laps into stage 2. He is in fact shutting the car off and entering those turns way early. So something we haven't seen this early on of a racetrack. Atlanta, well, the strategy is already underway in stage 2, Brandon. I haven't seen it that early, man. That's new.
Yeah, and I mean, it with the way how the stage is set up. I mean, like I said, some of those guys really feel like they are not going to be able to make it unless they do some extreme saving. Now again, as we just saw Nick Lights tag the wall a little bit there coming out of 4th. Now again, like I said earlier, it's fine that if you're doing this, but if a caution comes out, you know, in a couple laps, that changes everything. And all those spots that you gave up, it's going to be really difficult to kind of try to get those spots back. So, saving fuel and saving tires, that's all fine and dandy. We see the 66 is now took the lead lap back. So actually, I think this is the Millie in the wall, but I think this is 66. It's first lead laps here. We see Nick Lights down at the bottom, dicing it up with Nick Biddy. These guys are all over the place right now.
Yeah, speaking of Nick Biddy, I'm not sure where he's from, but the way he's coming out here and competing, he started 14th and now sitting 3rd, 2nd. Is this his home track? Is he from Atlanta? I'm going to have to look at his profile because, man, he is really comfortable in that cup car here at this track. I don't know if he put in a lot of practice time or this is one of his favorite spots, but, man, he's put on a show.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's kept it clean, stayed out of trouble, racing against Nick Lights. That a little close for comfort, you know.
You almost cursed it there, Brandon. That's that is a broadcaster's curse right there, almost unfolding as you guys were all looking on, man. That was close.
Well, look, I mean, he's up here and he's showing that he's competitive and that he can go out there and win as well. As he's sitting P2 right now, obviously his strategy is not to really save fuel, not to save tires. He's going to go out there and try to lead some laps and probably have fun, and however it shakes out, it shakes out. So, if it works, and it might work in his favor. If a caution falls and he's leading, come down, take tires, everybody's kind of back at the same point again. So, right now, Millie, checking on him, he's falling back all the way to P6. He was just leading about 5 laps ago, so he looks a little loose.
He does look a little loose. Still running that top line, as to say. Sorry about that. Can't find the words this evening, but that's okay. It's forced inside, but yeah, we were watching early on. He was running that top line, was kissing the wall, and maybe he hit it a few times too hard as he's falling back a little bit. Those tires look pretty hot and kind of loose. Like you were saying, Brandon.
Yeah, like I said, Atlanta is there's a couple tracks on the schedule or in iRacing in general where patience is key. The old Atlanta is one of them. Even the new Atlanta kind of gets a little loose in the long run as well. It kind of has some of the characteristics from the old one, but this one here is if you're new to NASCAR and new to oval racing, you need to understand that by the end of this fuel, if they were to go a whole fuel run, these guys are going to be begging for tires. But they don't, because they have the stage at 70. So now the last stage is the one that's going to be interesting to see how hard these guys will push. That goes all the way to 125. So even longer. So it will be interesting, and we're definitely going to see some strategies out of that as well.
Yeah, stage 2 is coming to an end here shortly, but one driver out front is Brandon 6, and that is scary because I know Brandon is the driver out here that can run the car as hard as he wants. Somehow, some way is able to save those tires. He's done it all year, and that's why he's in the position he is in. So, man, drivers behind 6, I'm sure they're looking ahead saying that's something we don't want to see. He is very strong, very good at saving his tires. In Atlanta, that pays off a ton. The second car in the 32, Biddy, he's about half a second behind 6, and we've got a few laps left to get to that 70 mark. He might pull away Brandon 6 in that 66.
Yeah, and I want to give a quick shout out to the 88 of Matt Fleming and 51 of Larson. Both of those guys, from what I understand, came back down and topped off on fuel. As of right now, they're about 3.5 seconds to about 4 seconds behind the lead. I guess you could say Pat. I guess it's probably the way to say it, right? Can these guys make it? I just don't know. These guys are so far back, but they're saving a lot. I mean, we rode with the 55 of Meeks, and he was literally shutting off the car. So I don't know if these guys are gonna be able to make it. And then the bad thing is, even if you can't make it after topping off on fuel, it's gonna be even harder to make up the spots. I mean, Larson is in P11 right now. He's still 4 seconds back. He's the last car in for the playoffs right now. So, unless he can try to, possibly get top 5 in points, he's sitting 14 points out. He really can't afford to lose points. If you can, start going now and maybe try to salvage something. But with we're on lap 55. Only 15, 16 laps to go. I guess if you can make it, then great. But if you can't, you might want to start looking at, might have to come down and take some tires. As we see a battle for the lead with the 32 of Biddy in the 66. Biddy said, I want to lead those laps now. Thank you.
Thank you indeed. Brandon 6 on that 66 on the outside, trying to stay ahead of Biddy, the 32, as they get some contact. Coming out of the corner, Biddies gets loose, almost into Frankie. He saves it. Now he's way inside, and he's going to get the pass. Now Frankie looking like he might drop into 3rd spot. Excuse me, that's the 48. Frankie's up top.
Yeah, and what you saw something that, and I'm sorry, what you saw is something that happens quite a bit. You have the 32 who's on the bottom. He's getting tight. The 66, could only go but so far up the track, and it gets any higher than he's already tight, as some of the guys already talked about earlier. I mean, it's so difficult to pass here, not heat up your tires, not burn up your stuff. It's definitely a challenge. Now we see Nick Lights back to the lead. Will be interesting to see if he saved his tires well enough, or if he did he save enough fuel. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, we're coming down to it. We got about 12 laps to go, 13, 12 laps to go. If they didn't save, you better think about pitting soon.
Brandon, I'll tell you what, Stage 2 has always provided this season, and I'll say this. Whatever you wrote down as notes, whatever you think they're going to do, just throw it out the window, because we are always proven wrong. The end of Stage 2, the start of the final stage, man, it always switches up on us. As Frankie, in that 12, making a push now, he is sitting 4th. I guess he's coming out in Stage 2 saying, I'm not falling behind. I'm just going to push it as much as I can. And love to see that. 60 laps now, almost to 60 laps. The Stage 2 is going to end at 70. And we've had such a good race so far at Atlanta, as now the 48 on the inside of Lights in the 4 car. Can he get by him? As they are so close, battle looks like he may. We've had a lot of changes up front early on, Brandon. I don't think we've seen this much competitive racing all season long. Atlanta is bringing out everything early.
Hey, if you give these guys a competitive track, they will produce some good racing. I think we're seeing it right here. Atlanta is one of the toughest, one of the most difficult tracks to race at. You can see the 44 slide up with the 48, trying to block that run. Come out the corner, don't hit the wall. Slaps the wall just there.
He saves it, Brandon. Inside now, back and forth as they go. Drua, Lights up front. Then the 48, and then we got Frankie in the back there. He's in 3rd. Brandon 6 now. He's in 4th. He led early on in Stage 2. Is he saving tires, or is he going to go after it? Both of them in contact into the wall. My, oh my, Brandon, they are leaving it out there on the track. 61 laps now down. We've only got 9 laps to go, and this stage will end.
And we still don't know who can make it on fuel.
Exactly.
Still do not have a clue.
Well, we will find out soon enough. But man, like we've been talking about it, Lights and Drew especially needs this win. He needs the points so he can not be knocked out of the playoff contention. Lights is right there too. This all matters as they are trying to advance to the final 4.
Yeah. No, 04 of Jonathan Wright is now P5. Came from as well, saving tires, saving fuel, making his way to the front when it counts. I talked about Larson. Larson's up to 9th. These boys understand that they gotta be able to get in that top 10. They need these playoff points. They cannot just leave them on the table.
You're right. 04 John Wright started 17th and now is sitting 5th. Couple of your movers there. Nick Biddy too. We talked about him. Started 14th, sitting 4th. Where are these guys coming from? I mean, back in the pack, stage 1, they were sitting there. Now stage 2, almost at the end, they're looking at a top 5, top 10 finish for sure.
Yeah, like I said, these guys are learning on the fly. You see Nick Lights get really, really tight there. Looks like he was, I don't know if he got loose or got tight, but kind of went for a little bit of a different angle. But looks like it's all good. He's still holding on to P2 right now. Again, nobody has attempted to pit yet, which is, well, I mean, we do have the 8 of Hassan. I'm sorry. We do have one car on pit road. The 77 Corvo could have also pitted as well. He's about 23 seconds back. Not sure if that's his damage or if he made a pit stop, but I think he would have been a little bit further back. But man, and again, his song pitting puts him a lap down. So the question is going to be when we end the stage in about 5 or 6 laps, is he going to stay out or he's going to come back and take another set of tires? I mean, we're already down to 3 right now, so he technically could be down to 1. Tires is very important here.
Very important as we only got 4 laps in the stage 2. Drew is still out front. I thought we'd see more drivers follow suit as a few of the drivers went into pit. We have not seen that yet, as the 34 of Fetter Place is now pitting, getting fuel and some tires. The 48 still out front now. Frankie now in second. He's almost a second behind number 48 as we look at another driver coming into pit.
So there is a slight strategy. If you can take your tires and your fuel and come back out right before the end of pit road, you can attempt to try and save your tires. You know, the pit road will close with 2 to go. So with that, you know, you have to play your strategy right. And that's technically now. And oh, he hit the cone. No, that could be an unsafe pit entry. We'll have to see. We have to see what the penalty. If there is a penalty, that was. I know he was in the grass and he did hit the cone, but we'll have to see with the. I was about to say what NASCAR said. Wow.
Well, yeah, we can still say that. That's okay, Brandon. But either way, Biddy with that 32 was out here putting on a show, was so strong. Hopefully he does not have a penalty because that will may put the end to his day. As we only have 1 lap left here in stage 2, and number 48 of Drew Drua is gonna get the stage 2 win if it plays out the way it is. Looking right there, 32 did get a penalty, Brandon. I believe that is the case.
Oh, man. That's unfortunate. He's having such a good run. I mean, it's not over, but I mean, it's going to be very difficult to kind of fight back from that. As we see Drew getting loose coming out of 4.
Frankie right there trying to get it. No, Drew. And that 48 is going to get the win. Stage 2, Frankie in second, Mark Whitley in third. Great racing early on here at Atlanta. Love to see it. No caution so far. Everyone has driven very smooth. And right now, the 48 is the driver to try to beat at Atlanta.
I needs to pull over that pace car. He's moving moving pretty good.
He's got fresh tires, that's why.
It's a good possibility.
Oof. Brandon, did
just
you hear the news? Yeah.
Yeah, just heard about Nick Biddy. It's gonna put him about 2 laps down. P17, and he's not the lucky dog. I think Feather Place was the lucky dog for this one. So his strategy of coming down and taking tires. I mean, we'll have to see how this kind of plays out. Because he came down with about 3 or 4 to go. So he has a couple laps on his tires. Now it depends on whether he took tires or not. I don't think he took tires. I think he just took fuel. So could work out for him for sure.
And looks like we're going to try to get Drew in here. No, we're going to get Frankie in the booth and say a word with him. Frankie, you got a copy there.
I got a copy.
How are you feeling out here today at Atlanta, man? It has been fantastic driving. It's been fun watching you guys do your thing. Is the track temperature still hot? Does the car feel loose? Are you getting a better feel for it as we're about midway through this race?
Yeah, car's pretty loose. As long as you take care of it for the first like, let's say maybe like 10 laps. I believe it's okay. I mean, the main thing is just it'll be a one-stop strategy after this, and it's gonna be tough being Drew, especially in the long run. But I feel like as long as I can, at the very least, stay with them, I at least have a shot.
Absolutely. Well, you're making a push early on here. You're sitting second. Final stage here. The race is going to end at 125. Brandon, you got something for Frankie real quick before he goes back to racing?
Yeah, I just want to let you know. Unfortunately, I think your competitors are kind of caught on to your little strategy of kind of hanging around and kind of saving tires, saving fuel. We talked to Drew, and that's something he said. So I think you might need to change up the strategy a little bit, buddy. They might be on to you.
Yeah, I feel like I think here is easier to save 3 laps than to save at like Indy.
Yeah.
I think for here it was a little bit more, I don't want to say obvious, but it was kind of more obvious to kind of just be like, no, don't try to go full board and kind of just save a little bit at the beginning, especially. But either way, it's been fun. Part of me still is kind of kicking myself because I saved an extra lap more than I need to, but it is what it is.
I got you. All right, man. Well, you coming to the 1 to the green, I believe. So we're gonna let you go, and continue to put on a good race, man. You guys are putting on a hell of a race tonight.
Thank you.
Fun show indeed, Brandon. As we just got a word of Frankie, you're right. Some of these drivers are kind of catching on to his strategy, and it's paying off for him too. But before we go green here, I just want to thank everybody at home watching at Wheels America Racing Network. We appreciate you being here as we are about to go green back at Atlanta. After the pit stops, it's Drew Drua, Brandon Six, Frankie Barroso, and Mark Whitley, followed by the 88 of Matt Fleming. That's your top 5 as we start the final stage. We go to the 125 mark, crown the winner of this race. All these drivers that have the highlighted green, they are in contention to move forward in the championship playoffs. So every stage 1 does matter. Those points counted, but now got to go out and try to get a win. I am excited to see this, Brandon, because Atlanta has provided, and man, I don't know how many drivers we've had in the lead lap, but we've had a ton. Now the pace car is off, and we are going to go green in Atlanta. 74 laps down, and we are going to bring the noise. And we're back. One of the best times of the race is bringing the noise as you get a feel for the racetrack, get a sound of those cars as they go by. Really cool aspect of this broadcast as well, just to kind of bring everything together for everyone at home on Wheels America Racing Network. But we are 78 laps down, and Brandon 6 is our new leader. That being said, I think we're going to make our picks of the driver who we think is going to win. I will start with AJ first. I usually go with Brandon, but I think AJ, who do you think is the driver to win here at Atlanta?
Well, the driver I think that's really going to do it is the driver that we've seen go from 8th or 9th at the beginning of a run because they're saving all the way towards the front. And that's the number 12 of Frankie Barroso. Wouldn't be surprised if we see him in victory lane by the end of tonight.
That would be quite the feat, AJ. 3 straight for Frankie. Can he pull it off here at Atlanta? He's one guy to watch out for. Brandon, who do you got?
Well, being that I'm the only person in the league's history to be able to pull off the three-peat, I'm not going to go with Frankie because I don't want him to tie me for that. So, I'm going to go and say that actually Drew pulls it off. He's been kind of low-hanging fruit, honestly. I mean, he's been fast, and he's won stage 1 and stage 2. If he keeps it out of the wall, I think he's the driver to beat tonight.
All right. Well, okay. I like the pick. Both of you are going to be right there. I think you got great drivers. I am, in fact, going to pick the number 4, Nick Lights. Now, big shout out to him. He actually raced in the NASCAR Truck Series last weekend on Saturday, I believe it was. So he was in the Truck Series, actually driving physical truck, and it was great to see him out there. That's my pick. Nick Lights in the 4. I think he'll do it. I might have misspoke on that, but I apologize, Brandon. What did I say? You're laughing in the background. I don't know.
It's all good. That's the point.
Big shout out to him though, really, to see him in the Truck Series and doing his thing. It was really cool. Really cool to see live on TV. So big shout out. So now Frankie, as we're looking at Brandon 6 in that 66, one guy that I said is dangerous out front. Only 83 laps here in the last final stage, 125 to go. He is pulled away. 1.23 seconds ahead of Drew in that 48. Frankie now is almost a second and a half behind, and Nick Lights is almost 2.
So looking at this from the outside point of view, not as a driver, but as the outside point of view, I would think that 6, if what was said to us is true, and 6 is very tight, then it would make sense that he's going to push hard because he's trying to get the tires hot, so that way the car will do a little bit more of what he wants to do. Now, the bad part is it could be he could overheat the tires, and then it's not going to do anything he wants to do. So, again, different strategies. Brandon 6 is on a completely different strategy than Drew, and it looks like the 12 of Barroso and Nick Lights are on a different strategy as well. So top 4 right now are kind of seeing where each other is kind of going with things. And then once they see something that they like or they don't like, they'll pounce on it and try to make moves. But we all know these guys have to pit this stage. So do you save fuel so that way when you come down pit road you don't have to take as much fuel, or do you push it and try to get the biggest gap that you can so that way when you do pit you don't lose that much time when you come back on come out of pit road. So again, different strategies, different mindsets. That's what makes racing great, honestly.
Absolutely. And now as we're looking at it, 6 is kind of off the pace out front now as the 48 is kind of catching him. 0.73 seconds behind. Do you think Brandon Mia thought he was burning him up a little bit and kind of letting off. Maybe he ran a little too early on that, and now it's almost down to half a second as the 48 is catching him. Frankie in that 12 is now a second off of the leader.
Yeah, it's a possibility for sure. As you see, actually the 66 get loose coming out of 4, so I think that the 66 right now is just going for it. You know, the car is not, and the setup is not to his liking, so he's hoping for a caution, maybe some caution to come out and kind of shake things up, so that way it allows him to kind of stay up front. Is from what it looks like, but hey, you know, you can't sleep on the rest of these guys. I mean, I talked about Larson a little bit earlier. He's up to P5. Fleming, P6. Whitley, all the way back to P7. Not sure what actually happened with him, because he was running up front for stage 1 and stage 2, but I'm not sure if maybe the car isn't to his liking either, and he might be struggling a little bit on the long run as well.
Yeah, as man, one gentleman we haven't talked about is the number 55 of Thomas Meeks. He was sitting 13th on the grid and now looking at 8th position. Matt Smith right behind him in the 54. He started 11th and now sitting 9th. Mike in the 77 too. They're all battling right there. Fun to watch here. The back of the pack, the mid of the pack do their thing. It's 90 laps down now at Atlanta. 54 right there as we're looking on board Matt Smith.
And we just saw, and we just missed it, unfortunately, but as we can go back and watch it, of course, thanks to replays. Appreciate that, AJ doing this thing. But
we love the replay.
Yeah, the 48 makes a pass on the 66 and is back to the lead again, and I think it's gonna be really hard to beat Jewett tonight. I mean, he has the car to beat. He's had the speed. He's been patient with his tires, and he's done what he's needed to do to stay up front and make sure he didn't lose too much time. But you can't count out Frankie trying to get his 3-peat tonight. It's never been done in the Cup Series. I know I said I've done it. I've done it in the Truck Series. So that my history will be there, but I still don't want him to win because, again, I don't want him to tie me for that. I want to be the overall repeater of the league. That's how I like to keep it.
Well, I would guarantee you he is listening to the broadcast, and now he's going for it as he just made a pass over the 66 of Brandon 6. So now he's sitting second. Man, Brandon, you may watch out because Frankie has what it takes to do it here at Atlanta, to go back to back wins. That's going to be fun to watch. I'm cheering for him, though. Love to see that happen. Right now, we've got quite a few cars off the lead lap. Yeah, 04 right, David, Hassan, Lanfear, all off the lead lap as we're looking at Mark Whitley right there in that number 7 car. I think Mark Whitley's out here with the new paint scheme. Am I not wrong?
I think he's ran into the last 2 weeks.
Gotcha.
But yes, I think last week was the first time he ran it.
Looking new and refreshed.
Yeah, so you know what? Let's see if we can go through the field. We talked about the front quite a bit, so let's check on the 77 of Corvo in P9. I mean, look, we talked about him at the beginning of the run. He made a mistake under coming to the green at the start of the race. Made it all the way up to P10. So solid follow up, you know, from the incident before, and he's holding his own. So kudos to him. Unfortunately, the 39, which we talked about, and we talked about all in chats, is not having the best of race right now. Not sure what happened.
I'll have to
Let's
go
see.
back and take a look as we're on board here.
Oh, he tried to make it to pit road. I don't think he made it.
Now, did he get loose early or was he doing it early? Pit stop here. They tried to slow it down to get there. Just could not. Oh, way loose.
Yeah.
Probably a smart move for staying out there and not making a mistake and putting himself back again. But, man, he's going to be way behind the pack as now he's going to make his move to the pits.
And I
Tires.
and I hope he didn't speed entering pit road because that would have been a double whammy right there. But yeah, I mean it's an interesting. It's about the time he had the 66 on pit road as well. So these you're starting to see some strategy play. It's I mean that's still 30 Oh, Nick Lights. I don't know. That was
That
pretty close.
that looked really close, and we just saw that earlier on how that can really ruin your race, man. That will be interesting to see what they call on that.
Yeah, hopefully they didn't say that he was speeding. He was locked up for quite a while, so hopefully, we don't want to. Hopefully, we don't want to do that.
Well, and Brandon, now we're looking at Frankie in that 12. He is still on the track. How many laps do you think he'll go before he makes the move to get a pit stall?
Yeah, I mean, Frankie right now is Frankie and Drew are. I'm sorry. Let me clarify. The top four right now are still out there, still trying to play the right strategy. I think, unfortunately, if you are further back, I think Meeks, Corvo, Predator Place, I say they go ahead and try to take the long game, maybe try to stay out as long as they can, maybe try to steal a win. I think that's the call. If you're in the playoffs, I think you have to play the strategy right. But if you're not in the playoffs, why not go for it? So,
Yeah.
I think those guys have a great opportunity to, like I said, maybe play some strategy. I know they can't stay out, but if they can do the long game, maybe a caution comes out and works for them, allows them to come down pit road. They're on fresh tires, and they're out front. Man, it could be interesting for sure.
Now only 25 laps to go at Atlanta as all the strategy comes into play. Drivers are staying out. Drivers are coming into the pits to change tires. This is where it all counts as, man, I will say something right now. We just got confirmation that this track temp is 145. Am I reading that correctly? Is that a typo? 145. That might be the hottest track in NASCAR history. Wow.
Yeah, it
Look
is
at that.
145, and the crazy thing is, it's mainly because we've stayed green for so long. The cars have put so much heat into the track that it's gotten all the way up to 145 degrees. I actually think that is the hottest track temp I have in my 13 years of iRacing. As we see Drew coming down pit road, he's flipping and
Oh.
sliding. I think he got down. I think he got down to it.
Yep. Yeah, I think he did a good job as well, saving it there into the pits. Talk about track temperature and then trying to make it into the pits is a hard testament for these drivers as you're going as fast as you can. You got to slow it down and you don't have much traction. That's got to be tough.
Yeah, for sure. And on man, these guys are just slipping and sliding. And now, even if you have the fresh tires, as we're gonna see, sorry, I was trying to see if maybe Frankie was gonna come down. He didn't, but taking those tires now, can you make up the time? We see the 66 is the first car, I believe, to pit. He's got to be able to get in front of Drew it, but I don't know if he's gonna make it. He barely is getting in front of Drew. But by quite a bit, actually. I'm sorry.
Brandon, I would say that Frankie, he's got to get into the pits. I would say he needs tires now because now you have drivers out there with fresh ones. They're going to catch him soon. He is 1 second slower than everyone at this moment, maybe even more. He might have made the right call. I'm not going to question him, but he's going to need tires quick. As we're looking at the 34, he's in the pits now.
Yeah, I mean,
and in better place.
Man, look, he has 2 wins. The only thing that he's really worried about right now, he wants a caution before he comes down pit road. That's number 1. And he looks like he's coming.
There he is.
Now.
Down.
Looks like he got down to pit road speed in time.
Came in. It looked pretty hot to me, but you're right. Right before the line. got down to that speed to make it okay, so he does not get a penalty. Number 55, Thomas Meeks. He started 13th, now sitting second. He says, what tires? I am rolling with this thing. He has a lot of experience behind the wheel. He might know something that we don't, but he is out there with Larson just moving along. Man, it'd be fun to see what he does, and I believe he is now 55 and Larson are going to go into the pits to get some fresh tires.
Yeah, it's time. Now the question is, these guys that are coming in, the later they go, they don't have to take 4 tires. You could take 2. I wouldn't suggest it, but if you're a gutsy driver or wants to play a little Russian roulette, maybe you take 2 tires, a little bit of fuel, come back out. Hopefully the car is tighter, and maybe try to go for the win that way.
That would be the gamble to take if you wanted to take 2 tires and try to steal a win. But man, with the track temperature at 145, I would be super shocked if that was the case. But Brandon, maybe you got some, maybe you know something I don't. I don't. Has any of these drivers taken 2 tires yet? Later,
No.
No, not yet. The drivers later in this race, they have the option. Who knows?
No, I don't think anybody has taken 4. But again, you know, the 88 of Fleming is still out there. I don't think he's hit it yet. To go back and look. I mean, yeah, he hasn't pit it yet. So, oh, I'm sorry, he did pit. He pitted really, really early. I think he pitted around the time that Brandon 6 did. Okay.
I kind of like that early pit call from Matt Fleming in the 88. Now this would happen. I've been picking Matt Fleming all season long. I would say he's a fan favorite. I've loved the 88 to try to get out here to get that win, but I did not pick him this time. I got the number 4 car, Nick Lights, for the win. But this will be the time that Matt pulls it off and gets this win at Atlanta. But man, we shall see what happens here.
Yeah, we see a great battle. If we can show it to it really quickly, the 48, the 7, and the 66.
Oh my. Brandon, we are 3 wide with 145 track temp, and we're keeping it together at Atlanta. Old Atlanta, mind you say. 17 to go, as 66, the 7, and the 48 are all now back grinding, trying to get this battle for the win. Oh, in contact with the 7 and the 66 right there. They kept it together. Could have been trouble.
Yeah, and we know their history, so hopefully they mind their P's and Q's, and you know, they can just go as we see Drew has now made it to P3, the fastest car on the track right now. Lights is gonna try to go for the block. Lights is loose coming. I mean, he is literally fighting it coming out of that corner. As you saw, that rear end definitely taking a slight wiggle coming off the corner.
It is unbelievable that we have gone green for so long for these conditions. Big testament to these drivers as the 48 on the inside does make the pass. Little bit of contact as the 66 in front gets loose, or the 88 of Matt Fleming gets loose. And oh man.
Oh, woo, what a move.
Now, Brandon, the way these guys are driving and making these passes, it looks like we're on the new Atlanta. They are all over the place trying to get position, as the 48 still out front, as he's done in stage 1 and early on in stage 2, side by side and single file behind there.
Yeah, well, look, these guys understand what's going on right now. It's coming down to the end. You got to put yourself in position. The last person to pit that still has a chance is the 12 of Barroso, but he is sitting 4.6 seconds back behind Drew, and they put it maybe 2 or 3 laps apart from each other. So, man, I don't know if he can get there. I think he needs a caution to really get there and possibly do something. And even though I'm being told that he's about 2 to 5 temps faster, he's got to burn him up to get to the leader. And that's where it kind of becomes a challenge. But, hey, look, don't count out Mark Whitley. I said earlier I didn't know what had happened to him. He is currently sitting P2 right now and actually keeping pace with Drew right now. So, you never know. He could. Nobody picked him. But as we're looking at the fact that he's 4 points above the cutoff line, he would love to be able to lock himself in, along with the rest of the playoff drivers. But well, only one person can do it. So
Absolutely. And Drew right now, the way he's been racing at Atlanta, if he gets the win, he will get all the points, and that will be crucial for him next week. We get down to the championship of 4, and we crown the winner of this league. So, man, that's going to be a huge advantage for him in the 48 if he can get this win. You're right, Frankie now sitting in 6th position. He's running out of time, only 10 laps left. As Larson's there, he's 12 seconds behind. Fleming 3, 6. Lights Whit.
and be mindful, the winner of this race advances to the final 4. Actually, it would be interesting. I don't know if you guys want to do it, but I was like, man, we haven't made our championship pick for our 4 pick yet. I mean, we're coming down to it. Maybe we should have did a Denny Hamlin bracket.
I don't know, Brandon. Now, this is going to be hard to tell with 9 laps to go in this race, as the lead changes have been so many. I think the most all season long. We're looking at the chat, and yeah, Steve says one of the best races of the season so far. I have to agree. The way that this is played out, Drew has dominated a lot of the race, but in between those times, we have had a ton of lead changes.
Yeah, and that's what makes, in my opinion, that's how you know the track setup, weather combination was on point. Different leaders, comers and goers, moving around. You got Lights running the high line. You got Frankie running the bottom. I think at one point you saw Mark Whitley running the middle line at one point. So these guys are all over the place. Where they're going, where the grip is. And that's how it should be, and that's, again, what makes a great race. And these guys have put on a heck of a show tonight, and it's cool to see that.
A lot of fun to watch. Speaking of someone fun to watch, now Frankie has dropped it down to 4 seconds behind the leader with 7 to go. Underneath, sub 4 seconds, he is gaining. I just don't know if he has a lot of time left, as he doesn't. And Drew, maybe he's burned him up a little bit and he can gain a ton of ground, but man, Frankie's running out of real estate and running out of time late at this Atlanta race. I'm not sure he can go back to back wins this year, but man, he's going to try as hard as he can to make it happen. Brandon, you might be sweating a little bit less because I know you didn't want to see it happen.
Hey, Frankie is one of my good friends, and honestly, it would be cool if he could do the 3-peat for sure. But the competitive side of me is like, no, really don't want to see it. But as the friend side, would love to see my buddy, go out there and get it done. If he don't get the walk, jeez. But yeah, but you know what though? I will say he is making up some time on Mark Whitley. Not sure if he's gonna get there in time. Mark is probably has to mess up pretty badly in order for him to catch him. In my opinion, I mean, you never know. I mean, he could be holding back a little bit. But man, it's what a race, right? I mean, and no, it's not over, but just so far. I mean, we've seen guys racing hard. We've seen 3 wide at Atlanta at 145-degree track temp. I've never seen it that high. But these guys took the challenge and haven't made a mistake yet.
Yeah, 4 to go at Atlanta, no mistakes. We've had a caution-free race. As you're looking at the playoff point system here, Wright, Larson, Fleming, it looks like their season may be at an end. They needed to advance a little bit farther than some of these other guys, especially Drewa. That's going to change up, be a big mix-up of who's going to advance to the championship 4. Their season may be done for the playoff run, but man, it's been fun to watch them out here competing all season long, especially in this race. Anything can happen. 3 to go.
Yeah, this is going to be definitely interesting as we're coming coming to 3 to go. Again, unfortunately, I think Frankie's just ran out of time. I mean, he definitely made some advancements for sure, but I don't think I don't think he's gonna get there, unfortunately. White flag is out. All he's got to do, make the rest of these corners, and he will lock himself into the final 4. Man, whoever it is, if Drew can hang on to it. Oh, and look like Frankie definitely was out there toward the wall, banging out the wall a little bit, trying to give it his all, trying to see if he can catch Mark Whitley. Looks like he's going to come up a little bit short. But Drew Drewa is going to be your winner at Atlanta tonight and lock himself in to the final 4. Looks like the finishing order is going to be Mark Whitley, P2. Frankie Barroso, P3. Nick Lights, P4. Brandon 6. Going to round out your top 5, P5. Matt Fleming, P6. Josh Larson, P7. Thomas Meeks, P8. Brandon Featherplace, P9. Joseph Millie, we said he was out for revenge. Fortunately, it's going to round out your top 10. Then you have John Wright, P11. Robert Hassan, P12. Joe DeVee, P13. Mike Corvo, P14. Michael Lamphere, P15. They all were a lap down, and unfortunately, the guys look like who were not able to finish the race, Matt Smith, Nick Biddy, and Kenny Rio, will round out your top 18 drivers. Hey AJ, got a copy, buddy?
Yeah, what's up, dude? Holy cow, what a expletive race. Didn't want to swear on stream. What a crazy race. Let's talk to our winning driver. Let's get him down in the broadcast booth. Brandon, take it away. Here's Drew Jua.
Drew Jua, driver of the number 48. Do you have a copy, sir?
Yes, sir.
You are officially locked in, unless we have to go through some type of, make sure your car passed inspection and everything like that. But I don't think we have to do that. So, congratulations on making it to your first Final 4 for ASRA, for the league. Tell me what your feelings are, man. You put on a dominance of a race tonight. Fastest car by far tonight. So tell me your feelings. Tell me how you feeling, man. Tell me everything.
Oh yeah, I feel great. We played strategy right all race long. We really saved our tires well, and I was a little worried there at the end with everybody short pitting. I kind of even short pit myself. My plan was just to go as long as I could, but after Mark pitted, I realized that I need to overcut just by a couple laps to make sure I have a little bit extra tires than him, and I made some gutsy passes. I won't lie. I sent 3 wide on Mark in the 66 of 6, and ended up working out. I saw Frankie pitted 3 laps later, but we were too far ahead, and I saved my tires enough there at the end to win.
Yeah, man. just we caught that 3 wide, and man, we were nervous. I'm not gonna lie, man. Looking at how hard you threw it into the bottom and then sliding in front of Mark Whitley and Brandon Six there, I was a little nervous. I'm gonna be honest with you. I wasn't really sure if he was gonna get loose off the corner, but man, heck of a job. Like I said, you are locked in to the final four. We do have another race next week coming up. Again, and I do this every week. I don't know why, but the next race
Phoenix.
that we have
We
is
are in
Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Tell me your thoughts on that.
I haven't raced the next gen at Phoenix in a while, so I'm glad I got the win here. It felt really good. I saved my tires well early in the race, and I don't think anybody could save them like I was doing. I think Mark did that final stage, but he was too far behind to make them really count, and we got it done at the end of the day. I'm glad I don't really have to worry about Phoenix. I know that track is pretty loose. Um, at least that's what I experienced last time I went there. So we'll take the win, and we'll be back at the championship finale.
All right, man. Well, again, congratulations, sir. We will catch you next week at Phoenix.
Thank you.
All right, Brandon. Great interview with our race winner, Drew Jua. Let's talk to our P2 driver and somebody who I thought was going to be under fire from a special Barroso. But let's talk to Mark Whitley. Take it away, Brandon.
Hey, Mark Whitley, you got a copy?
Gotcha.
Man, so close to getting that win. Walk me through that after you made that pit stop. Maybe the strategy, kind of like what was your thoughts? Kind of what was you thinking?
Well, I strategy from the beginning of the last run was split the stage in half, come in either 99 or 100, and I was kind of surprised all those other guys came in as early as they did. I figured they were doing the strategy, as soon as they could make it, they pitted, which I thought, that'd get them out, get them a good gap if they could get a clear of traffic. But I thought that what me and Drew did, pretty much splitting it in half, he went 1 or 2 laps long. I thought that was just the right strategy, and it worked out. We actually got around Drew. He pitted 2 laps later, I think. Got around him. We were starting to make our way back through those guys that pitted early, and everybody was just kind of like, I wouldn't say giving up their spots, but they won't sitting there. They knew they were on older tires. They won't trying to be Ryan Newman's or anything. But then get to the 66, and he wants to be Mr. Billy Badass, and decide to pinch us down and whatever. It's the same as always with him, but that kind of cost us a chance, because I felt the only way we could win the race is if we could keep Drew behind us. And with these cars, it's really easy. I don't say, well, not easy, but you can aero block really good, like cut off the air to the nose, and it causes the car behind you to push. So I thought we might have had a chance at it, but once he got by both of us, racing side by side like that, it was pretty much a race for second. And I knew Frankie was doing a weird strategy going long. I think he was hoping for a caution, and once we got clear of everybody and Drew was out there in the lead, and I ran a few laps. I was trying to try a couple different things, and I really wasn't catching them. So I knew Drew was pretty much gone unless he made a mistake. So it was just mainly about just hold serve and make sure Frankie didn't get by us and just try to maximize the points. And so we did. Frankie was starting to make me sweat a little bit there the last couple laps, but thankfully laps ran out before he could catch us. So
Yeah,
worked out in our favor. But all in all, it's a pretty good race. First stage, feel like we kind of burnt the tires off a little bit. First couple laps, we kind of got it back by us by the end of the first stage, and second stage we saved gas. Still not really sure how those other guys made it when they were running as hard as they did, but pretty good stage finishes, good points night. Just trying to maximize points, just to make it that last round of championship 4.
I hear you, man. Well, like I said, you especially in the beginning, I was a little nervous for you and lights. I was like, man, they are burning up those tires. But like you said, you did start to make your way back. And man, I mean, I agree. I think you and Drew's strategy, I think, were pretty much spot on. Don't know if I would have did it. I probably would have ran a little bit longer, but it probably wouldn't have worked for me though. But anyway, so I don't want to kind of put it out there. I know last week we kind of messed up and said that whether you were locked in or not. I'm gonna say I don't know. So we had to definitely wait on points. Basically getting P2 definitely gets you a great amount of points from the race tonight. But we got Phoenix coming up next week. It's not really a short track. I don't know what you want to call it. Maybe a hybrid between a mile and a short track. So, what's your feelings on that track there?
Well, I've gotten a handle on it really good since I did that reconfiguration and switched the front straightaway and back straightaway. I the first couple times I ran there when they did it, I didn't really like it, but now I've gotten a hang of it and I love that place. It's so fun to drive for me. I feel like we have a real chance to go out there and maybe win the race. If we need to put us into the championship or if not, I think we can definitely be up front in the contention and be in the conversation. That's probably what's going to take. I know Brandon, barring a complete catastrophe, he's pretty much as locked in with as many bonus points as he had. And now Drew locks in. So there's really only going to be 2 spots left, and you're going to have to, everybody's going to be scratching and crawling for those 2 spots. So it's just going to be, try to get a good as finish, try to win the race, and if not, try to get as good a finish as you can.
Yeah, for sure. I think you got the right mindset for sure. For sure. All right, man. Well, I'm gonna let you go. And like I said, great race tonight, man. All you guys put on a hell of a race. It was definitely fun calling it. I can't wait to see what Phoenix holds. That's gonna be. I know it's gonna be a no bars hold for that one, but I can't wait for next week, and we'll see you next week at Phoenix.
Sounds good.
Great job, Mark. Congratulations on the second. All right. It's time for your third place finisher here tonight, Frankie Barroso. Take it away, Brandon.
Frankie, you got a copy, buddy.
I got a copy, Brandon.
Hey, how you feeling after P3? I know the strategy probably didn't work in your favor, but walk us through that last stage and tell us how you feeling.
Well, I didn't feel like I didn't feel like I had the car to, I would say, beat Drew, so I kind of had to do whatever he didn't.
Mhm.
And as soon as he pit on like lap 100, I want to say maybe like 99 or around there, I was like, okay, I guess my play is to go long, hope for caution. If it doesn't, if it doesn't come, then you know what, it's all good. I'll have fresher tires. If it does, then I'm sitting in a good spot. And you know, it didn't happen, but it is what it is. Top three, still good points for next week, and that's we just got to focus on next week and just not having a terrible race.
Yeah. Okay. So we got Phoenix next week. Like you just said, you gotta focus on not having a terrible race. I know it's kind of a hybrid, between a mile and a half a mile, which I don't know why they should just made it a mile and called it a day. But anyway, but they didn't do that. So, what would be a strategy, and how can you, if you were to think of it now, what could you do to guarantee yourself is that you're locked in for the final 4 for next week?
Win, just win. But I mean, I don't think I'll need to win next week. Honestly, feel like I do, but I would like to win. But if I don't, then the main thing is get top 5, top 10, get some stage points. Uh, and Phoenix isn't exactly my best track, so as long as I just stay out of trouble and just focus on not making the little mistakes, I think I'll be okay.
All right, AJ, I'm sorry I didn't bring you in before with the other two drivers. Did you have anything to say before we let Mr. Frankie go?
Dude, I was like so giddy in my chair, like watching you take down an 8-second lead to 7, to 6, to 5, and I'm like, he's gonna get there. He's gonna get there. And you were driving qualifying lap after qualifying lap after qualifying lap. You had some really interesting saving opportunities, strategies throughout the beginning part of this race. Was that like a team thing, or was that like a, oh crap, I'm not going to make it strategy?
Are you talking about in stage 2?
In stage 2, shutting the car off.
Yes. So I think everybody was basically about three laps short around there, and the main thing was to at least get to 70 and 71, just to at least make it there. Because then it would at least help us in stage 3. Like you saw the people that pitted. Unfortunately, they went a lap down, and it kind of ruined their race. And it's kind of one of those things where you have to worry about making it. I know Drew was very close to not making it. I had probably a lap more than I needed to, but still, I'd rather have that than where Drew
Mm.
was. So, you know, at the end of the day, fuel saving is another discipline that some people can work on, and it really helps, especially at the end of the race if it's super tight. And it's a skill that is not often required, but when it is required, it's extremely handy. So I'm glad I'm able to at least be one of the best in my eyes at saving fuel while also being able to keep up pace. So that ended at stage 2 and P2. So yeah, like I said, I think I got like 5th in stage 1 and 2nd in stage 2. So either way, we got good points for tonight, and all I gotta do is just focus on next week and just
Mm-hmm.
not blow it, not blow it, basically.
All right, buddy. Great race tonight. Always happy to talk to you up in the broadcast booth. I know it's not normally me, but we'll see you out in the desert next week at Phoenix for the last race before we drop the field down to 4 and we run for that championship in California Auto Club Speedway. But first, we take a stop to Phoenix Raceway. Frankie, thanks for talking with us, pal.
Thank you, AJ. Thank you, Brandon.
All right, Brandon. Give us your final thoughts over the race tonight, because holy crud, was it a good one.
I mean, honestly, well, minus the incident where we're coming to the green with the incident with who was that? Mike Corvo hitting the 34, unfortunately under caution or under pacing, I should say at that point. But other than that, I thought the race was very smartly planned. I will say by all the drivers. Lots of different strategies, lots of fuel saving techniques. You saw people shutting off the car in the middle of the run, just trying to save every ounce of fuel that they could. You had 3 wide, possibly four, basically for the win. Between six, Mark Whitley and Drew Drew there. I mean, there's just so much stuff that happened in that race. Unfortunately, there were a couple guys who didn't have the best race. Matt Smith, Nick Biddy, Kenny Real had some issues, and unfortunately weren't able to have a good finish. But uh, even the guys that were just one lap down, they put on a heck of a show as well. John Wright had ran up front a little bit as well. I remember seeing his name up there. So it's just I don't know. I didn't know what to really expect when this race. I mean, this is, like I said, one of the most difficult tracks to race at, and these guys show that they could race here, even with 145-degree temperature, and still put on a hell of a race. So kudos to all the drivers. Kudos to uh, everybody behind the scenes that gets it done. Steve Tucker is the league owner. He gets it done. AJ, you behind the booth. And Emery, which unfortunately I think has some connection issues. He hasn't been able to come back to say his piece. But talking for him, I will assume that he was ecstatic about the race as well.
So after confirming with Steve Tucker, here at Atlanta tonight, we had for a mile and a half the most lead changes and most green flag passes
Wow.
in
Wow.
league history. and that's just for mile and a halves. So
Wow.
kudos to everybody on the racetrack tonight. Only the 2 stage cautions all race. Fantastic. We will see you next week in the desert. Same time, same place. Stay safe. We'll see you guys later. Peace out.
From Mordor to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.